Hello, I'm Karen, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you how to crochet sheep. I've done them in different colours, and this one in particular is a special one because I couldn't follow the same rules when I was doing the black crochet sheep, because you can't get black stuff in, or it's really hard to get hold of it. So for this one I actually used the leftover leftover yarn from the ball. So to make a black sheep you just need 50 grams of sparkly yarn. That's how I've made this particular one, just so that you can see that one. And so this one is stuffed with the leftover, so you make the body, and that's just so for that one. The rest of them are made with the normal fibre fill, which you can get, that's available in white or cream. Okay, so just so that we've got that little bit out of the way. And the pattern itself, I've said in the title, is actually King Charles's pattern. So this was from a game that I played a little while ago, and I've shared the game and shared all of those bits. So today's video I'm showing how to actually crochet the sheep. So to start off with, you're going to leave all of the way through these, you're going to leave yourself nice long tail ends, because your tail ends will be used for sewing in. So we're going to begin with a twist on the hook, and we're going to make a chain of 13. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13. So what we're going to do now is we're going to work back into the chain, and we're going to be using the double crochet if you're in the UK, or it's a single crochet if you're in the US. So you're going to skip the very first chain and put your hook through there, yarn over, pull through, and you've got 2 on there, yarn over, pull through. So that's your stitch, and we're going to do that all the way to the end, so we end up with a total of 12 stitches. So this particular pattern as well is also very special, because it actually secretly hides King Charles's actual birthday. So I will be sharing that as we actually go along, and I will also share some fun facts that I've learned about sheep while I'm actually crocheting. And one of the fun facts is that if you're in the UK, the Wiltshire sheep, they live in, obviously in Wiltshire, which is, for those of you that live around the world and don't know where Wiltshire is, you may know where Stonehenge is. So it's in the same, roughly same vicinity as that. And they actually molt, so they don't actually need to be sheared. So just another fun fact. Okay, so I've got to the end of the row. This is what it will look like. Yes, it's got a little bit of a twist going off. Do not worry. So now we're going to turn the work. We do not chain at all the way through this. And I'm going to tell you something now. So this first stitch, you're going to work into that first place there. This stitch, I want you to think of this as your anchor stitch. This is the bit that's going to keep everything in place, and for every single row that you do forwards, you're going to do that at the beginning of every single row. And it's just the 2 rows, so we're just doing literally, and it's 2 stitches. So we're going to do a chain of 3, so it's 4, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to work into the next stitch along and just do the single crochet or double crochet depending where you're from. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're just going to do that all the way to the very end of this. And I just want to just do it real time with you so you can see what happens. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and do your stitch there. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a very relaxing pattern to crochet, by the way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because you're continuously counting when you're doing this bit, you're really focused on what you're doing. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can sort of switch off from all the other thoughts that go in your brain. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're nearly there. 1, 2, 3, 4. There. A few more to go. That's my 4 stitches. Yeah, I've got 2 more to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And this one right at the very end there, it's sort of twisted over a little bit, just there. Get into that stitch there. So when you've finished, your work's going to look like that, which looks kind of messy and it curves around, but you're going to count your loops. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, like I said, this is to do with King Charles. So King Charles was born in November, so we've got 11 of the loops. So now we're going to turn our work. We're sort of working sort of almost on the end of it rather than twisting it around at the moment, because like I said, we want to do that single crochet stitch or the double crochet stitch right in the very end stitch. This is our anchor stitch, so we're going to do that stitch there. Now I hold my work here between my other fingers just to keep it sturdy. We want to pull the yarn in front of the loop. So what you're going to do is put your hook into the actual stitch, put the yarn in front of that loop, can you see that? And then you're going to yarn over your hook and just do your stitch as normal, and this will help all your bubbles stick out on the same side. So you go into the actual work, make sure that the yarns come in front of the loop, yarn over your hook and come through. Okay, and you're going to do this all the way across to the end of the row, and you'll get into the flow of it as you're doing it. So once you know what you're doing, it's easy. It's a very forgiving pattern as well, so don't worry about your tension might not be quite right or something like that. At the end of the day, it's a sheep. Yeah, so it doesn't matter if one of your bubbles is a little bit bigger than the other bubbles or a little stitch is a little bit smaller. It's okay. So we're going to get all the way to the very end there. Now, so when we get to the very last stitch, I'm going to do this one here. There, whoops. And you can see all of my work sort of curled up on me as I'm doing it. Now I need to turn the work again sideways because I want to go into the very bottom stitch here of this chain. So you want to go underneath your 2 stitches, pull your yarn in front of the actual loop, yarning over your hook, pulling through and finish on off your stitch. And then when you turn it, you can see you've got your little row of bubbles. So this next row is now going to be, we're going to make the loops again. So remember, we need to do the anchor stitch first and then do chain of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and working into the next stitch along. And you're going to just keep doing that repetitively, 2, 3, 4. So to do the actual back of the actual sheep, you need to make sure you've got 14 rows. So another bit to do with King Charles. So King Charles, 2, 3, 4, was born on the 14th of November. Okay, so 2, 3, 4. I lost my place there with that one. I'm just going to just do this row as well. How long have I been? 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got the next little stage to show you as well. So what I'm going to do is, so you've got the gist of it now. So you're going to end up, as you get to the end of it, every row, I'm going to get to the end of this row. I need to show you something. Hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just because then at least you've seen it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it will stick in your brain so that when you're actually working it yourself, you say, oh yeah, I need to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're coming right to the very end. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got this stitch here. So I'm doing that one. Now you might think you've actually got to the end, but you can see you've got one more bubble and there is a little bit that's tipped over. So you want to do 1, 2, 3, 4. And that very last bit that's tipped over there, you want to go underneath your 2 strands of yarn if you can get in there. I've made that look dramatic. And then go into there. And that's the end of that row. And you will, if you're ever in doubt, just count them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. And then remember, you turn, do your anchor stitch into the very first stitch all the time, and then you're going to do the same as before. It's just yarning over there and you're going to create your bubbles. So all your bubbles will sit facing the right way. If you accidentally do it and you end up with one that way round, it is actually a bit fiddly to try and push it through the other side, so it's easier to undo your work, and because you're only doing 2 stitches, it's not really hard. But I shall move on. Where's my piece? So this is the piece where I've actually made it. So we've actually got the 8 rows of the bubbles. And so I've done the actual, obviously the stitches back to form the bubbles there. So this is where I would actually be finishing. So remember, I told you to leave a good tail end at the beginning. You've got a reason for that. So what you're going to do now is you're going to turn your work, do your anchor stitch like you have done before. This is the front of the pattern, by the way. Then you're going to get your tail end, bring it over, and that's going to sit next to your anchor, so you've got that's out of the way. And then you're just going to just do your single crochet or your double crochet stitch along, and you're just now going to just keep on doing rows backwards and forwards. So the very front section of the actual sheep, if I just bring you a sheep over, so this bit is now, we're now doing this face area here. So on this lemony coloured one, there is actually only 12 rows there. I will be honest, because to start off with, when I was very first trying to work out what it was, I'd got 8 rows and I'd done the 12, make it up to 20, because I was just thinking simplicity. But as it happens, we do need to have the 14, because we've got this is so then we'll have to do with King Charles's birthday, but also we've got the 14 bubbles on the back. So I'm just going to all you do is you're just going to literally just keep doing these backwards and forwards, and you'll use the actual marker as your guide. So as you turn in, each time you turn, so you know, so this was actually I'm on row 1. Yep, and then when I come back, it's going to be that when I get to this side, your tail ends are always going to finish on this side, so that'll be row 2 and even balance all the way up. So that's what you're going to do with those. So you're just going to just say keep on going, and I just wanted to show you a finished back piece just so that you can see something else that happens. So when you're working it, you can tell the top and the bottom. So this is the bottom because you actually did a row of your chain in your single crochet. The very top where you actually end up finishing your work finishes with like a bubbly effect and that there. But also if you laid it down flat, or tried to flatten it out because it's got a natural curve, it's not perfectly straight. It's got a slight tilt all the way to it. So don't worry about that, okay? That's perfect. That's how it's going to happen, just so that you can see that that's there. So that's how to make the front of your sheep and the back of your sheep. So you're making your bodies. And say if you want to actually do these ones, you're going to need some fibre fill, but you can still do the same thing. You only need 50 grams of yarn per sheep. And also, just because you can see the height difference of the black sheep and the lemon sheep, because they're all slightly different. And the blue one actually ends up bigger as well. That is just the thickness of the yarn. And I've used a 4mm crochet hook for all of these. Every single one of them, they're all exactly the same, okay? And here, and here, and a white one. So yeah, all right, so thank you for watching, thank you for liking. Please join me in part 2 where I'm showing you how to actually make the little arms and legs. I've put them as legs and their ears, just so that you know, and I will actually show you as well of how to sew together. All right, so join me in part 2. Thank you for watching, thank you for liking, thank you for sharing, and bye for now.